Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We are here in the middle of a secret location at Las Vegas Motor Speedway because today is the day that we have been waiting for. And guess what? Here it is next to me. This is it. This is the final of the last call editions. This is your 2023 Dodge Demon 170. But before we get into what could possibly be the ultimate of all production muscle cars, let's talk about what the heck is going on here. We were at SEMA at the end of last year to bring you the 6 of the 7 last call editions, able to really do a deep dive into the Black Ghost, that Challenger Black Ghost, spent some time with it, did some smoky burnouts. Well, guess what? Dodge, not resting on their laurels, wants to go out in a very big way with this Challenger platform, and they're doing it with this Demon 170. Now, you take it all the way back to 1970, the first year of the Challenger, and really that's where the true essence of the story begins for this mighty nameplate. But you know what? A lot of people thought in 2018 it could not get any crazier from the Mopar brand, and guess what? We are here to prove that things can definitely get crazier. So what you're gonna find is, similar to the Demon, we're looking at a limited production run. 3,000 of these examples for the United States and 300 for Canada. So if you do the math, 3,300 for North America. I wanted to show you all the ins and outs of this Demon 170 and of course give you the details. And at the end of the day, I want to find out, is this the greatest production muscle car ever built? Let's go ahead, let's dive into this 2023 Dodge Demon 170 and find out. Guess what? When you look at it, you are looking at a production muscle car that is an 8-second car from the factory, and I'll give you more details about that in a few seconds. Now, when you look at it, there's some things that are going to be different from the Demon, and I'm very happy to say that it is different from the Demon. Up front, you're gonna find your narrow body. So we don't have those extra wide fender flares that you would find on a Hellcat Red Eye wide body or the Dodge Demon from 2018. The reason why is we're shedding weight by not having the fender flares, and there's gonna be a couple other things that I'm gonna show you as we go around the corner here. We're cutting weight. So those fender flares, you're looking about 16 pounds of weight just by shaving those off and keeping the narrow body, but we do have some flare once we get to the end. Now, when you come across the front, you're gonna have that iconic look. This design just is timeless. And this is gonna be one of those vehicles that 10 years from now, you're gonna be like, I remember when Dodge just laid down the hammer and came out with the craziest of power production muscle cars. But I love the way they still keep the look. You got your SRT badge. Remember, that street and racing technology set up to give you the utmost in performance. On the lower side, of course, everything's gonna be fully functional, and we have a unique splitter for this Demon 170. This thing, like I said, is all about the drag strip, and it's got a lot of nice touches that you're just not gonna find on the Demon or anything other than this vehicle here. Now, when we rise up onto that big bulge hood, you're getting that air grabber hood. Love the way they took that from the Demon, bring it on the Demon 170. This is a pre-production, so some of the graphics and stuff are gonna be a little different. For example, like the alcohol injected, that's gonna be like a carbon fiber setup with the badging, but the silver with the satin flat black just really screams, I'm muscle car. You're getting your bulge, and you don't have to put any socks anywhere to get that bulge. Underneath the hood, we're looking at an engine that now produces a tad over 1,000 horsepower. Now, when we come around the bend, what are we working with? Wheel and tire setup. The first production vehicle ever to have these types of Mickey Thompson drag slick radials. These are staggered setup. So up front, what you're looking at is an 18-inch wheel, and I'm gonna talk more about that in a second. 245 on the width, 55 series sidewall. You'll notice that this has an optional direct connection carbon fiber wheel. So you can see that beautiful carbon fiber, and actually Dodge did the weave with the company that makes these wheels so that they're very clear from a distance that this is the carbon fiber wheel. Love the way they did the center split spoke design. Of course, you're gonna have your 4-piston Brembo calipers, 2-piece rotor. But remember, this isn't about handling through the twisty bits. This is about handling through the drag strip. And these radials are gonna give you that stick and that grip, because guess what? When you launch it at the tree, you're looking at a vehicle that pulls a tad over 2 Gs. 0 to 60 in 1.66 seconds. That, to me, just, it melts my brain. Now, of course, they went through the suspension because at the drag strip, it's all about weight transfer. So this has special dialed-in suspension to get the weight to transfer to the rear, to give us that ultimate grip, that ultimate stick. But also, besides the stick, we have to beef up what's going on with the drivetrain. And there's a lot of beefing that they did with this Demon 170. But definitely the wheel with those Mickey Thompson drag radials just look absolutely phenomenal. First production car to have this, and they're staggered. 18-inch up front, wait until we get to the rear, 17-inch out back. Now, as we come down the side, we have our iconic badge, that Demon badge, but this one has the 170 neck tattoo, and I like the way it's got the yellow eye. The reason why is that this runs on E85 to get the utmost in the power, in the performance. That satin black on the hood comes into the roof. From the side of the vehicle, you're still getting that classic muscle car style. But like I said, narrow body up front, but as we come towards the rear, look at what we got. We got those wide fenders, because on the rear, we have a 17-inch wheel, 17 by 11, with a 315. 315, massive rubber to help grip the road. Of course, those carbon fiber wheels to cut down weight. The carbon fiber wheels cuts about 157 pounds of weight at all 4 corners on this vehicle. I'm gonna have Lori kind of swing around and just show you. When we say drag radials, you'll see how very low on the grooves, but they actually did some tweaking to it to make this a little bit more feasible to drive on the road. But these are made for the drag strip. When we come to the back, the tail in the business, of course, you're gonna get that drag spoiler setup instead of your standard trunklet spoiler. Love the way the black comes all the way from front to back. And then with that setup, you'll notice it's nice and lower and extends back. The standard one comes up a little bit higher in the center. As we drop down, let's talk about what's going on underneath the car. So they beefed up the ring and pinion gears in that differential. So you got a beefed up differential, beefed up half shafts, drive shaft, the whole 9 yards to take that power from the front of the vehicle and get it to those 2 sticky rear tires. Big steamroller. You do have your vacuum cleaner style exhaust. I wish they would have done something a little special on the exhaust, but other than that, this thing is mean and lean and definitely a muscle car machine. Let's pop the hood because I want to give you all the numbers on what this Demon 170 is bringing to the table. All right, guys, as I'm looking at this car, I'm kind of getting a little teary-eyed because this is the final of the last call editions. Just like the other last call editions, what's great is, and I'm gonna have Lori kind of swing in and show you, you do, of course, get the badge, just like all the other 2023 Challengers for the 2023 model year, but this badge is only the beginning. As you see, we have some major muscle improvement. Now, if you're wondering, well, Joe, how similar is this to a Dodge Demon or to like my Hellcat Red Eye? The only thing that's basically a carryover is the camshaft. Everything else has been gone through to give you the utmost in performance and also, of course, that reliability at the track so that you could keep turning those fast, consistent times. You'll notice the widening of the air intake tube. Look how massive that is. That's about a softball that you could fit in there. That throttle body, a little over 100 millimeters, and then you have an upgraded 3-liter supercharger. But that's just the beginning, and guess what? With that supercharger, I like the way they did the satin black. You got the Demon badge on it, and that's part of the reason why they call this the Demon 170, because guess what? That is a modified supercharger from the Elephant C170. So there's a lot of crossover from the Elephant 170 to this Demon, and that's what gives it its 170 name. Now you're looking at a 6.2 liter supercharged V8. On E85, you're looking at 1,025 horsepower. I'm gonna say that again, a production car, muscle car, 1,025 horsepower, 945 pound-feet of torque. If you're wondering, well, Joe, what happens if I don't run it on E85? On E10, you're still getting 900 horsepower, 810 pound-feet of torque. And the great news is that the ECU is going to look at how much ethanol is in the fuel and then coordinate how much power it is producing in the end. So you have that, of course, bolted to a beefed up Torque Flight 8-speed automatic transmission. Some of the direct connection goodies that you're getting is that patent pending Trans Brake 2.0, which we'll talk more about that when we get into the interior. This has an NHRA certified 8.91 seconds in the quarter mile. That means it received a letter from the NHRA that it's banning it because, of course, of all the safety gear needed and a parachute. But this thing does 891 in the quarter mile. That's 151.17. They wanted me to be exact. I'm giving you the exact numbers. 151.17 miles per hour. And like I said, 0 to 60, 1.66 seconds. Now, how do we do that? With that supercharger, you're looking at 21.3 pounds of boost. Compare that to a Hellcat Red Eye. A Red Eye has 15.3 pounds of boost. So we have that modified supercharger. You got the, of course, the carbon fiber wheels that helps cut that weight. That's an option. We have that 105 millimeter throttle body and a 3-inch pulley to help with that whole setup. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, does it come with red keys, black keys, blue keys? The only thing you're getting with this vehicle are the red keys. That's how Dodge intended it. And of course, that air grabber hood, fully functional to suck in gobs of air up top. And then it comes out right here and kaboom, right into that massive air filter. And then of course you're getting all the other goodies that we know from the Demon. The ability to have the SRT air chiller where you turn on the AC and it cools down the engine. Of course, everything full functional, but I don't know about you. If you're ready, I'm definitely ready. I want a little bit of an eargasm and fire up this Demon 170. All right, guys, we're inside this Demon 170, sitting here idling, and that's the thing is like, as soon as you do the cold start, you hear that freaking supercharged V8, you know that you're in something so special, and this is one of those moments where it's gonna be remembered forever. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I have been waiting to get myself a muscle car. I've been waiting for the kids to move out. My son, finally 35, moved out. I want my muscle car and I want the ultimate. How much is this? MSRP, you're looking at $96,000, and guess what? $666 starting for this Demon. But let's see what this final of the last calls brings for the money to the door panels. I love the demonic interior. The red with the black. Yes, it looks like the Challengers that you're already familiar with, but like I said, in this vehicle, you're gonna see some interesting touches. Of course, we have our Twinkie holder in the back portion of the door panel. That's for when you beat the competition. And guess what? You're gonna be beating a lot of cars at the track with a sub 9-second quarter mile cup holder and the Harman Kardon sound system. Sticking true to their form with badges, you do get the Demon badge by the AC vent. And what's nice is that your VIN number, the last four, will be in this section right here. Remember, this is a pre-production, does not have it, but yours will. And if you are a Demon owner and you get the chance to get one of these Demon 170s, you could actually apply to get the same VIN so that they match. That's pretty cool. That's a nice touch. Now, as you come inside, of course, you're getting the premium level of the interior materials. You still got the 8.4-inch Uconnect 4 system, but you know what? We have the upgraded, updated setup on the performance pages. You can see how we could do our actual holding RPM, activate the launch control just like before, but you have more options. You go into your drag options. This is where you're gonna have that SRT chiller, your shift light, your race cooldown. Everything has been specifically set up for the Demon 170, including the Trans Brake 2.0, which I can't wait to show you that in a split second. Going back, of course, you got the rest of the performance pages. Those take a few seconds. While those are coming on, we're gonna drop down the carbon fiber. Of course, you got still all your knobs that you're familiar with, same controls, which are great. Going back up, there's our performance pages with your G meter. Like I said, a little over 2 Gs from a launch, and that gives you a 0 to 60 at 1.66 seconds. We got our beefed up, of course, Torque Flight 8-speed automatic transmission. This is for your trans brake. Now, if you're wondering what is this all about, this is for locking the torque converter, your stall converter, to help you have that perfect launch at the tree, cut a perfect light. We do have our Demon specific red keys, and you're only getting, look what I have, the 2 red keys for this particular Demon. Of course, soft touch material. Open this up, there's a ton of room for pink slips. So if you're racing for pinks, get ready to have a nice collection of cars if you know what to do behind the wheel of one of these. Of course, we have that Napa leather, super soft, and we have the upgraded Demon Badge 170 in the actual back portion. Now, you do have manual seat controls for the passenger, and if you're wondering, well, what does this have for a rear seat? This particular one has the optional direct connection harness bar and carbon fiber, not plastic, not cloth, carbon fiber rear seat delete. This thing, like I said, looks like it's right out of a SRT drag car. But why don't you come over to the business end? I want to show you behind the wheel of this Demon 170. All right, guys, business time. I almost have my belts locked in because I want to run this down the strip here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. But down in that pedal box, you are going to get your aluminum brake pedal and throttle. Still, though, they didn't do anything to the dead pedal, so I'm going to have to zonk that, especially in a car that pulls 2 Gs. I need more room to support myself with my foot down here. You do have your seat controls, and it's crazy to think that we live in a world where a car that has this much power from the factory comes with full warranty, air conditioning, power lower portion of the seats, Napa leather. We thought Dodge was done at 707 horsepower in the original Hellcat back in 2015. What's going to control you down the road is, first of all, we got these amazing Simpson belts. So this is part of that direct connected, the harness bar. You got your 5-point harness, and then of course, once you buckle in, this is what you're going to be grabbing onto for dear life going down the strip. That Alcantara wrap steering wheel. You got the metal paddles on the back of the wheel themselves. Still wish they would have done a Demon badge where the SRT is. Let me know how you feel about that. So I am going to zonk that. But the gauges are clear and concise. And of course, you have the red gauges, that 220 mile per hour speedometer, and you could scroll through a cornucopia of performance readouts for the strip. Absolutely perfect to cut that perfect light, and especially if you live life a quarter mile at a time. But you know what? I want to show you something at the back end of the car that's gonna blow your mind. All right, guys, even though I have shown you tons of trunk space on a plethora of different Challengers that we have featured here on Raity's Rides, there are a couple things I wanna show you underneath this trunk lid, but I also wanna show you something extra. Now, I mentioned a parachute that is available through direct connection, of course, running a sub 9-second quarter mile time, something that's very crucial to help slow you down. Dodge, being that brand, Mopar, no car, came up with something very, very smart. Now, this kind of reminds me, it takes me back to being 7 years old and going to the gas station with my folks and wanting to pump the gas. You know why? It was all about how you pump the gas, and the way you would do that is actually lift down the rear license plate and pump the fuel. But obviously, we're not pumping fuel. What you'll find is located behind the bumper here is the direct connection setup to mount that parachute. So you get the whole setup from behind this location to the actual parachute itself, so it makes it an easy peasy, lemon squeezy kind of experience to run that chute. But how smart is that of Dodge to offer this type of stuff that you only see on typical drag race cars, with this being a production vehicle, a muscle car with over 1,000 horsepower production vehicle. And then of course, the trunk. What I've always loved about the Challenger trunks is that you could bring all the important necessities, your toolbox, some jack stands, a jack, whatever you need. You don't have to have 15 cars follow you to the strip. This is one of those ones where you could drive it to the strip, do it, you do the business, win the pink slips and the trophies, and then drive her home. And if you're wondering, well, Joe, what's in these bags? Obviously, you're gonna be able to get the optional special Goodwill car cover. And there's also a decanter set that's specific to the Demon. So they really want to commemorate what's going on. And you'll notice in the back, that beautiful carbon fiber rear seat delete. And you can see that harness roll bar setup coming in and getting bolted in on both sides to the rear of the vehicle. But this is one of those cars that the drag strip is right there. I want to take it for that first drive. Of course, this being a first look, we're not there yet, but stay tuned because hopefully that moment will be coming where we could go on throttle together. But until then, let's wrap it up from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. All right, guys, it's been one of those days where I'm exhilarated to finally be able to bring you what Dodge has been working on with this final last call edition. I'm also quite sad because the days are over for this magnificent vehicle in this form. But let me know what you think. First of all, we got to thank everybody at Dodge for allowing us secret access here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway with this Dodge Demon 170. Let me know what you think. Is this the ultimate? Is this the greatest production muscle car ever built in your eyes, especially for the money? Put your response down in that comment section because I know Dodge reads through those and they want to know how you feel about this final beast. But until we meet another day with another drag strip behind us, if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raiti's Rides family. Of course, we got to give it to the muscle behind the lens, Lori, out here in the coldy conditions, working things like a champ. Show her some love in that comment section. Thank you, Lori, for being the best in the biz. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.